All right, we're live for day 4. Welcome everybody back to Copy Hour. Again, it is day 4. Thank you for stopping by. We're going to talk a little bit more about the research process today. We're going to talk about this ad, this very viral video ad, and talk about some of the core components of it and try to relate it back to our Copy Hour structure. So looks like we're good and live. Coffee, if you're watching this, first of all, I love your name, Coffee. If you're watching this, please, there are some pages that are in the like in the events section. So if you go up to events within Copy Hour, and again, this kind of stuff is probably going to be changing soon, but for the meantime, let's take a look at the event section, and then you can go in and you can post on each individual thread if you go into past events and go all the way down to week 1. That way we can post our just pure hand copying. If there's a question or anything that you have, you can post it to the main group. But if it's just literally just a picture of your handwriting, let's try and put that in the events tab because it'll just keep things a lot cleaner. So because imagine if everybody posted their photo, there'd be nothing that you could really see. Something like this is great for the main page, but if you post, if everybody just posted up their hand copying to the main wall, it would get kind of annoying after a certain point, right? Like there wouldn't be anything else on there. So that's why we do that. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about this ad. So I just wanted to show you what the person behind this looks like. So it's a fairly attractive woman with a British accent that's sitting on a toilet. That is what we call a pattern interrupt. So I'm going to pull up our bit of copy here, or sorry, our structure. And if you look at our structure, we have our lead, then we got a sales argument, then we have our offer, and then we have our close. In the lead, one thing that you're going to see is a pattern interrupt. This kind of thing pattern interrupts were kind of made popular by Tony Robbins, and then John Benson, who has the VSL course. He, whatever his VSL, he was the creator of the ugly VSL, which is basically just typing on a screen. And that, in the beginning, just that alone, an ugly VSL was a pattern interrupt because it didn't look like things that you saw on the internet before. So pattern interrupts are something, you're going to see them everywhere these days. With VSL scripts, a lot of times they used to start with, this is a pyramid. In this video, I'm going to show you how this pyramid will help you get clean drinking water. Or this is a goldfish. In this video, I'm going to show you how this goldfish will help you get laid. It's an interruption. It's different. People aren't talking like that. And it kind of jars you out of your current state. That's the idea with the pattern interrupt. Why are certain ads that you see online handwritten, or are they kind of ugly, or they kind of stand out or different on the page? Well, when you're dealing with the internet and you're dealing with like major publishers and you're trying to, as a smaller company, trying to get an ad out there, or even a bigger company, it doesn't matter. All the other ads look like Ford commercial ads. They look like vehicle, like trucks, where they're nice and pretty and there's good branding and it's just a picture of the truck. And those type of ads anymore for us, they don't really register when we're scrolling around on the internet, when we're clicking around and we're on different websites. But if your ad can either look like content, so it looks like another piece of content that I'm going to click through and read an interesting story about, if I'm on like a major publisher like CNN or whoever you use, New York Times, Fox News, if that's your cup of tea, if you're scrolling around on there reading stories, if it looks like another piece of content, you're going to be more likely to click on it. Or the alternative is if it doesn't look like an ad or it doesn't look like ads that you typically see, it's going to at least catch your attention. And it's the catching your attention part that is important with the pattern interrupt. You're basically saying, all right, I need to catch attention first, and then I'm going to hit them with the headline that they're going to like, and then I'm going to hit them with the lead body copy that's going to get them even more interested. So the pattern interrupt is there to only just grab attention. So the pattern interrupt we have here for the Poopery ad is a attractive woman on the toilet with a British accent. That is a pattern interrupt. And then obviously she goes on to say some things that are interrupty as we go forward. So let me pull this back up. Are there any questions? It doesn't look like we have too many people here live. Maybe people thought it was a little bit different time today, on about an hour earlier. It's all right, though. I'm just going to power through. So we've got a pattern interrupt to start. And then from here, let me just zoom in a little bit. Pattern interrupt kind of is with the video itself, but then also this. You would not believe the mother load I just dropped, and that's how I like to keep it, leaving not a trace that I was ever here, let alone that I just birthed a creamy behemoth from my cavernous bowels. Okay, pattern interrupt. Typically stuff that you don't hear anywhere else, can be seen as funny. I have one friend, the funniest friend that I have. Like, legitimately, I don't stop laughing when I'm around him. He's the only person I know that does not like fart humor at all. Like, will not laugh if somebody farts, thinks it's the worst thing in the world. Yet he is the funniest person I've ever met, and it might be because he's just above fart humor. He graduated beyond that. So some people don't like this type of humor. I get it. You're probably not going to buy this product. So if you're offended, there are plenty more assignments in CopyHour that you can take a look at. So nothing is worse than stinking up the shared toilet at work or a toilet at a party of your lover's apartment. So from here, we now have a problem solution lead. What's the problem? Well, I've got a solution for you. What's the problem? Nothing is worse than stinking up a shared toilet at work. And with problem solution leads, so yesterday we talked about promise leads. Today, problem solution leads are all about empathy, where you're showing people that you fully understand the problem that they're going through. And when you have a product like this that's kind of solving the problem in a unique way, at the time there weren't a lot of other products in this category, right? This is a product that if you can put that problem into words that people haven't heard before, or that's easily understandable, but people haven't really talked about or really heard about before, you're in a good place with your product. This is how a product can become viral, get bigger. If it's a common problem that nobody else is talking about, and you put it into easy to understand words, or you put it into viral, funny words like this, it's something that has a better chance of taking off. Sometimes with your products, if you're going to use a problem solution start to it, you're going to have a common problem that other people have tried to solve, and maybe it's boring, and it's not necessarily that people haven't tried to solve this in the past before, but it's more just like you understand the problem more deeply. So there's two parts of a problem solution lead that you can have. You can either really understand a common problem very, very deeply, and then you're able to show empathy to somebody's situation, or you have a problem solution lead where you really, really have something like you put that problem into words that are easily understandable for the first time. So it's either you understand something extremely deeply, or you are putting a problem into words that people have not heard before. Obviously, this one, putting it into words that people haven't really heard before, thought about before, is going to be the tricky one and a lot more difficult. But this one, which is putting really deeply showing that you understand the problem, that takes experience, that takes talking to people, that takes a lot of research as well. So the problem solution lead is a fun one, but it can be tricky. So anyways, we've got these kind of empathetic statements here. Nothing is worse than stinking up the shared toilet at work. Of course, okay, and then now we've got, these are the things that you've tried in the past, right? So first we start with the problem. Then we go to things that you've tried in the past. Very important with the problem solution lead. Even if this is the first time people are really talking about it, they've still tried things to solve this problem, right? There should be something that they've tried. Really important with the problem solution lead is that people have tried other solutions. Even better if they tried paid solutions. In this case, it's just like, there are paid solutions here, but it's more just like, these are the things that you've tried to do on your own. And so let's just move forward with this. So of course, flushing removes the graphic evidence. These are things you've tried, maybe 2 or 3 flushes, if your skid marks are as tenacious as mine. But what can be done of that subtle scent of a 300 cow dairy farm? Here's what's worked in the past. And really, this is the stuff that's worked in the past, right? Here's the problem. And I kind of misspoke there, but the problem, the solutions that you've tried in the past start here. This is still part of the problem, right? Flushing removes the evidence, but not the smell. So nothing is worse than stinking it up at work or at your lovers. There was a dude that my friend and I met in Thailand, like this was years ago. And I told him what I did, which was at the time I was running a publishing company. And we were looking for authors. And I told him that I was running a publishing company, and he said, "Oh, I've written a book, and it's about it's this old dude. And if you've ever been to Thailand, there's some strange expats in the mix. There's some really cool ones, and then there's some really strange expats. And this guy was one of those strange, like old expats." And probably in his 60s or 70s, and he's told me that he wrote a book about surrogate lovers, and he would say it, surrogate lovers. I've written a book about surrogate lovers, and that's always stuck with me. Now, 15 years later, I did not publish his book about surrogate lovers, which is basically if somebody goes through a traumatic divorce or experience, then you go to his place and he has a woman there or a man that is like just like there to console you. Kind of sounded very brothel-y to me. I don't know. It was a strange idea, and I tried to leave that conversation as soon as possible. But when you live on a small island, you run into people constantly. So I was running into that man all the time, and he was telling me about his surrogate lovers. So anyways, I don't know how I ended up on that story. Okay, so we've got the problem, then we've got the solutions that you've tried in the past. Aerosol air fresheners aren't the most effective or the healthiest. Trying to mask the nice blend of Hem Lab carnations with just a touch of feces. So more funny things. So what do? So how do you make the world believe your poop doesn't stink, or in fact that you never poop at all? Poopery. So introducing the solution. So when we have a short ad like this, there's not really going to be a sales argument. Your sales argument is going to be the offer itself, right? So in this case, we're just jumping right into the offer, skipping the sales argument. You don't really need to, if you've fleshed out the problem deeply enough, you don't really need to insert anything that's like surrounding the idea. I don't need to sell you on the idea of covering up the smell of poop, right? Your poop smell. I don't need to sell you on that concept, right? You've already been sold by my quick explanations and my basically my empathy, or really in this case, it's just like putting that problem into new, different, exciting, interesting. Maybe interesting is better than exciting. New, interesting way of saying things, right? So then we introduce the product. And now we're going to talk about the features and the benefits of the product. We might even discuss the USP. Poopery is the before-you-go toilet spray that is proven to trap those embarrassing odors at the source and save relationships. So before you go toilet spray, simply spritz in the bowl to create a film, and then your little astronaut splash down and make contact with the film. They release Poopery's pleasant aromas. Yes, it is a real product, and yes, it really works. And then now we're going to have social proof. It's a real product. It really works. We've sold over 4 million bottles. A lot of this is targeted mostly women, but as a guy, I still understand the product's value. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, it can be used by either sex. It's also something you could put into your bathroom, and it's like kind of a funny thing to have if guests come over, which guests are allowed to come over these days with COVID relenting, although it might be coming back. So we've sold over 4 million bottles on Amazon. Amazon alone, there are over 1,000 reviews. So now we've got some social proof. If you don't have these things, you obviously wouldn't be able to put these in. You'd probably want to have some sort of testimonial. Could even be a funny testimonial from actors in this particular case. Because you've gone the funny route, you can be funny. So if you didn't have these things, you could go, you could use a different way of a different form of proof. So I'll go back to the structure in just a second. If it doesn't completely stop your stench from spreading, send it back for a full refund. So now we're in the close. That's a signal that we're in the close. When we start talking about our guarantees, our risk-free guarantee, click here. That's our call to action. So whether you need to pinch a loaf at work, cut a rope at a party, or lay a brick at a boyfriend's, your days of embarrassing smells are over. Poopery, our business is to make smell like your business never happened. To make it smell like your business never happened. Okay, so just because of the fact that it's kind of a funny ad, they kind of return there at the end. But only really a couple parts of the close. So let's go over to our